listen, holding you closer, cause you're my heaven. I'd sail the oceans just to find you. I'd never give up just for me to hold you. No matter what happens, I'll be by your side. I'll never let go through every sunrise. Your eyes shine like diamonds, our hearts beat in time. I know this is it, just say that you're mine.
Right now, we are just enjoying a little bit of Jaedong's great highlights. The weekly dagger will just start in one more minute here, and I hope you guys can enjoy a little bit of Brood War. All right, everybody, welcome to weekly number 10, the Korean edition. And I'm wearing a special outfit today because, you know what, my mother came back from China and she brought me all this stuff that is either kind of useless for me to use or impossible for me to wear because my arms, like my shoulders, are too wide for anything that comes from China. Being a 6'3", 230-pound figure, there's not a lot of Asian outfits that I can wear. So I kind of take this this dress here that I have. You know, you can do the buttons here if I wanted to, but I wear it as a vest, and I figured I'd wear my Gearheads a motorcycle shirt underneath, and it kind of makes it look a little bit badass. So, you know, maybe I'm kind of doing it wrong, but it's okay. My mother also brought me home this disciplining stick. I haven't found a use for it. Maybe my wife and I can figure out what this is good for later. But that's to be determined. And I have one last thing, but I'll show it in the next break because I do want to get right into the games. That's usually what I like to do. Got a lot to bring up though, guys. Let's start off with Jaedong's replays. I will be casting replays today, and I will be casting replays next week too. Now, the replays you're going to see today are going to be the part 1 version of Jaedong, and we're going to watch him in historic games versus PStork, Bisu, and Fantasy. I was actually going to be casting Jaedong's current replays under his pseudonym 424, and I promise you, those replays were on its way. Zero, unfortunately, had an empty attachment. And you know what? Stuff like that happens. He's halfway across the world, and there's a big time difference, and he's already asleep by the time I can try and get more replays. And so, of course, that's Lamada, who's also kind of my intermittent person who bounces back and forth to try and get these replays. Now, if you want to donate to the Korean players and get more Korean replays brought to my cast, you can go ahead and do that. You can donate to Zero. If you'd actually like to add a donation to Last, he might be willing to add in replays too. And if you want to donate to my stream, I want to let you know now that I'm not going to pocket any of the money that you donate to my stream. I am actually getting ready to do a fight club in 2017. Listen to this. In 2017, a foreign fight club is going to start. I already have $250 in my PayPal account, and that's going to at least fund me for 6 weeks of Fight Club. On top of that, I'm working on a sponsorship, so you will be able to get a sponsorship for that too. These are going to be replays just to add to Blind Raw. This is just a highlight video. We will be going into replays. Let me bring up this right now. I do have 4. Oh, I just accidentally closed it out. Whatever. I have 4 replays that we're going to watch over time in history. If you want to see the ones that I'm going to cast, you can go to my BisuDagger and Friends caster thread. So yes, not only am I bringing back a huge foreign scene tournament with this fight club, so top players get ready because it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm also going to be casting 424 aka Jaedong replays next week. They will be current. So for those of you who don't want to watch anything from the past, you can leave. But if you want to have some fun and watch something from the past, the Kespa era Jaedong, when he was the tyrant, when he was at the top of his game, then you watch these games with me and we'll have a blast today. All right, it looks like this has loaded back up, which means that we can get right back into it. If you want to see the replays in person and you want to be able to watch intimately how the players played these Korean games, I have been giving Sele all of my replays, and they are available on Icy Cup replay section. So if you need to access those replays and you can't, then send me a PM or write in the thread, and I will make sure I can set up a hot link so you can get the replays also. So if you want to learn from Zero, Last, Mind, Effort, any of those players, I have their replays. I've been giving them to Sele, and you guys can go on to Icy Cup replays and learn from the best. Okay, so the 4 replays that I have in order, it's going to be Flash, then Stork, then Bisu, and then it's going to end with Fantasy. And why do I do it in that order? Flash versus Jaedong was really the original rivalry. Those two going at it. Jaedong peaked before Flash came into the scene, and then they started running into each other. So Flash versus Jaedong first. Then Stork, obviously one of the old guard. It's just kind of a cool matchup. And then I feel like Jaedong versus Bisu rounds it up. And then finally Fantasy, who was the last great player in my opinion, is a great way to wrap this up, because Fantasy was basically #1 on the scene when the Kesper era ended. So that's why we're going in a particular order. All right, let's go in the weekly number 10 folder here. Yes, these will be all Kesper era games. Next week, though, I promise you, I'll repeat this one more time. Next week will be current Jaedong games. If I have to cast all ZVZs, I will, because that may be all I can get. But they will be Jaedong. All right. So, also, he should be returning after BlitzCon. He's at BlitzCon this weekend, so that's why he's busy and not streaming live right now. Let's see here. Jaedong versus Flash. All right. Hype, hype, hype. Guys, actually, Liquid Red literally labeled this Hype 3 exclamation marks when he added this replay from August 9th, 2008. You will be watching Jaedong versus Flash. Let me switch over here to the correct overlay. Bam! Everybody get happy. Let's set this to fastest, which is good to go. All right. So, let me get one more thing in order. I promise. Okay, so we are actually going to be on the map Fantasy, old school. And if you guys don't know, when I cast an old map that maybe you haven't seen before, I like to reveal the map so we can kind of take a gauge. And I try and take a new, fresh perspective every time I come into these old maps, because it's can be confusing, especially when, unlike StarCraft 2, you have full fog of war. You can't actually see the layout of the map. Some people are saying as a really good idea for Brood War HD is to reveal the map in the fog of war. So you come down this ramp, you have a hugely exposed natural base, and there's actually a second entrance to the natural base where you can mine up these minerals or do a mineral glitch. Either way, you can get through them pretty quickly. So, you know, maybe Zerg favored, because it's going to be harder to get an expansion down for a Terran player. Let's not try and predict anything too early here. Take away the reveal. Alright, let's go ahead and see how these players play back in 2009. The meta shift for TVZ has changed a little bit, but I still feel like the early game dynamic is still there. The Zerg opponent primarily has always focused on getting to Mutalisks, because Mutalisks kind of control the pace of the game early on. And it's all about predictability. Can the Zerg player get in the scout quickly? Are they going to be able to identify, is it a fast 2-rack play? Is it going to be a 5-racks, kind of a strong early to mid-game type timing attack that Terran's going to come with? So how many sunken colonies are you going to need to use at your natural base to defend? And we can see that the Overlord already working its way up the map over here. And the first supply depot coming down for Flash. Now, actually, interestingly enough, and I know this is more common these days, but because the mineral patches are on the right side, even though this is a left side spawn, you actually would want to put your supply depot down here in order to push your SCVs more over to the right and have them quicker to the mineral patches. But that's kind of just a personality thing. Whoever wants to do that, it's not a big deal to have that supply depot above instead of below. We can see the second drone already being sent out, and this is going to be a scout drone, of course. And eventually later it could find its way over to become a third base, but right now it's just going to be sitting on these 2 bases. I welcome everybody again into the weekly Dagger. I've actually been casting this for 4 months straight, but I started giving this an official name about 10 weeks ago, give or take a few weeks that I actually didn't cast, so I didn't count those weeks. Like last week, I was in New York City, had a great time, learned that people will treat you terrible in New York City, but no, I'm residing back into the wonderful Florida, where the weather is quite beautiful today. Alright, we've got our Terran commands that are coming up. Let's actually identify how the build's coming here. We can see that this is a really fast command center. In fact, it was a supply depot command center before building the barracks. And so a really aggressive economic opening for Flash. Meanwhile, Jaedong, we can still see that he's going for everything normal here. He went for the hatchery first. In fact, he went for his second hatchery. So here's the deal, and this is exactly what I was thinking when you think about going for a faster hatchery on a map like Fantasy, is you could get the larva count higher for a massive amount of Zerglings, which will allow you to start picking apart this wide open base, which will be a problem for Terran players. Flash is going to have to start thinking about how he's going to clog this up. You want to think maybe a supply depot here. In fact, that barracks that's all the way back here actually would have been a nice building to have down on the low ground, so you could go supply depot, barracks, and then bunker, and you have a lot less room to worry about. But instead, what Flash does here, and a lot of Terran players like to do this also, is to just crunch the room at the bottom of the ramp, because he knows that if the Zerglings get through, they have a lot of space to be free in, but it's going to be a lot harder for Zerglings to get up this ramp, especially if SCVs come down the block right here. You can pull 3 SCVs and be in a pretty good position. So right now we're just kind of trying to pick out the multitude of different build openings that we could have seen from Flash. But right now he's got a fast second barracks off of this second command center here, and what he's trying to do is get as many Marines out as possible to make up for the deficit and the lack of Marines by going for the command center before the barracks. And now we can see that the refinery is coming second, the academy on its way too, and he's going to be medic light, and we'll see if being medic light is actually going to be an issue, how fast our additional Zerglings is going to be coming in here. Now here's the deal, we have Lair coming up, a second gas being taken at the natural base, so this is actually just going to be a standard macro hatchery. This is going to be a 2 base into Muta, or no, I'm sorry, 2 base and Hydralisk Den is coming out here. So mutas are actually not going to be the problem here. It's going to be lurkers for Flash to deal with. And this is why the academy is going to be really, really important. He's going to need to get the Constat station at both his bases, because he's going to need as many scans as he can. It's not like he's going to be in a position to get up to Starport and get science vessels anytime soon here. Okay, now we can see immediately that the Constat stations are going to be going down. And you know, this is a high number of Marines. Like I said, he was trying to make up for that deficit, and then some. So he's got 10 Marines already pushing outside of the base. No medics with him, which means that every once in a while you might be able to get a nice sneaky pickoff with your Zerglings if Jaedong is able to play that so well. I believe that he did get the Zergling speed. Only one Zergling getting killed off right there. That's just the initial scout. Overlords kind of spread out. Oh, and here comes the third base drone already up to the top right location to find itself a new home. All right, eventually it will start to make its home. Okay, so lurker aspect is on its way already. Got to keep an eye out for the Hydralisk count here. The first additional Hydralisks are already out. So Jaedong has skipped the Mutalisk tech. Now remember, that's always important because Mutalisks are integral in slowing down these units from moving across the base and pressuring out at the front. Jaedong's opted not to go for a sunken colony yet. He's only built a creep. Now finally getting his sunken, doing it in the last possible moment here. But he will have lurkers available to defend. And these are not enough units to be able to bust through and actually get inside that natural base. So Jaedong is in a good spot to hold at either location. Meanwhile, you can see that 2 lurker eggs, the standard amount, is going to be able to block at the third here. And they can just sit on this high ground and pick away these units unless Flash just comes out of nowhere. Like a Banshee from hell, a ton of units here. Only 20 Marines still. I think that's still pretty light. A nice pickoff on that Overlord, though. We could see that Flash was able to finally hunt it and take it down. The range upgrade on its way too. Range and stim always so important. Without range, I feel like Marines just can't combat well against mutas or lurkers. So it's gonna be really important, because think about this here. If you can't get up the ramp because of the lurkers, you might be able to get a few Marines over here to try and pick up a top ramp lurker. But you need that Marine range to be able to hit that long vision that makes it really difficult to actually hit the lurkers. Okay, so this is a really good spot here. We can see already a couple kills coming down on these lurkers, trying to find themselves back on the high ground. Even these subtle little areas will qualify for that. And what's the Flash doing? Going on, sending out a suicidal SCV. Somehow still managing to stay alive. What a Gosu here, not even taking a single hit. And the Zerglings actually pull back. That's got to be the bravest SCV I have ever seen. Okay, we can see that the hatchery here does finish up. Jaedong's wanting to go for gas right away. I wonder if he's actually going to follow up with a Spire. Yes, and he is. So he may actually switch back to Spire Tech because he will have 3 gas. And that could work for him. But we do see that the Queen's Nest is here. He's going to want to get up the hive and allow himself to use the Nidus Canal networks to maneuver his units between his natural main and third base location here. Quite a few drones already here. Now Flash, he doesn't have too much outside of his base. He's camping with his initial group. We can see that he's got this early command center here, but he's not going to even try to achieve a third base until he can start to get tanks out. He wants to have a couple tanks before he can push, because he really can't get in here effectively to break these initial static defenses. If Jaedong senses that Flash is going to come across, he's going to build a few more sunken colonies across here, and you really, really want to have those tanks. Of course, that's why the Spire timing is so important. No upgrades here. But what you can do is not only for these Scourge that are going to most likely try and see if a Science Vessel is out and about, but the Mutas can pick off tanks pretty effectively, especially when it's played by someone as good as Jaedong, who, excuse me there, had a misclick, is so good with his Mutalist Micro. He just picks apart mech transitioning opponents in a TVZ matchup. All right, looking inside this base, quite a bit of SCVs here mining right away, and you can see that it's starting to just chisel away at the main base economy here, which is why it's really important for Flash to eventually start working towards his third base. Even if he wanted to take just his third set of mineral patches here, and there's no gas at it, it would work out for him because he can easily defend the front here, and I think that wouldn't be a problem. His re-macro is going to force his units to walk through this path here, whether it's tanks or Marines. So, you know, a little bit of an early command center wouldn't hurt him in this situation. But still, we're seeing a very, very passive Flash here. On 79 supply to 126. The Tyrant having himself a nice lead so far in the game. I love that he's called Golden Mouse. He's actually won 3 OSLs, 2 MSLs, and then like a GON TV Classic. It wasn't called the Classic though, but he won a GON TV tournament, and he also won a WCG. So what a baller indeed. The Tyrant has one of the best results of all time. I really, he's only second to like Flash and Nada. And that's about it. Oh, look at all these lurkers coming from the high ground here, trying to position themselves in a range where they can get these tanks. You want to watch out for this Science Vessel here. Is that what's going to get taken out? You can see that the Scourge are just poised to attack here. Oh, look at them sitting on top of this small encampment of Zerglings. The tanks trying to get a range here. They're going to get a couple shots off here. A nice kill as the initial lurker gets taken out. The Marines, are they going to stim? No, they don't stim to take out that Scourge. And this Science Vessel going to stay alive. The Scourge going to stay alive here. And it's just going to be this complete standoff as both these players are just camping in the middle of the map. More lurkers coming from the left side though. A pincer attack. Oh my god, that Gosu scan. Flash, knowing that somehow the units were coming down from the bottom, throws out a scan, moves in some tanks, and already on top of these pebbles sets up a nice little siege line to deal with the incoming units here. Now remember, we've gotten to Hive Tech. We do have the Defiler mount. Consumption is almost completed on the research station here, and it's getting so close. Jaedong's got to hold back. He's got to stall. He's got to play the slow crawl game back as he heads towards his natural base and wants to prevent these units from getting there. If he can hold on just a little bit longer, this Defiler, where is it? It's got to be near his base. Woo! A cancel there on a Nidus Canal. Wonder what he was aiming for. Oh! Gotta go to the top right here! And it wasn't a cancel. It was actually, A destroyed Nidus. If you don't know, the counterpart Nidus Canal does get killed off too. So this Marine push in here, actually killing off a lot of drones. The lurker damage isn't going to be enough. So many units killed off here. Oh, wow. Jaedong, that was a detrimental third base. Now we see that the Dark Swarm coming down. No pausing here when it's a JVF. This is just what happens. The Defilers coming out with their consumption. They have the max energy to engage on top of this army. A lot of tanks have already been taken out. Remember, it was about 5 siege tanks so far. And now we're seeing only 1 siege tank defending with these Marines. The Marines are going to be useless. The Dark Storm once again rendering all these units back. And this is just crazy. Jaedong is leapfrogging his way forward, showing why he is known as the Tyrant. And Flash has nothing he can do to handle this. Somehow he manages to have at least science vessels here, but the science vessels are not going to help out at all. These Marines are attacking, but their attacking is fruitless. No fire bats, no vultures, no spider mines. This is just a terrible, terrible situation for Flash. He's only just now getting his third base too. You can see it on the minimap just coming up barely at this mineral only. So his income is actually slowing down pretty significantly here. He's going to be running out of minerals soon there. Jaedong's been able to hold on to this third base at the top right. So his economy's running back too. A scan goes down. Marines and medics are just trying to make their way south. Maybe they can loop around the map here to go for a counter attack at the natural base. I wouldn't count on it though. Another Nidus Canal is going to be built up. So many lurkers coming outside from this natural base, and everything's getting blocked off. Jaedong has every location just cut off for Flash, and he is not finding his way over to Jaedong's base without any economic damage. Oh my god, look at this. Look at the plague that's happened here. All of the Marines are feeling gushy. They are feeling sickly, and eventually all the medic energy will just wipe away, and that will just be a group of useless females. They will no longer be contributing to this Terran army. All right, Jaedong, what do you got going on here? You can see that his Nidus Canal has been rebuilt at the third base. He's got a fourth base on the way too, and this is actually a mineral only. God, where is the gas on this map? It seems to be in low shortage here, which is actually bad for a Zerg player. You're going to want to need a lot of gas, you know, going into the late game play against a Terran player, especially Flash somehow manages to turn this game around. It seems that now that he's finally got Vultures coming in here, he's got Spider-Mans coming down, he's trying to get more into the full mech stage because he knows that the Bioforces aren't going to be enough to deal with this. He can't even take out this Defiler. The Defiler above ground, an easy target, but defended very heavily by these lurkers. You can see just that deadly Irradiato coming in, gonna pop very shortly because of the Science Vessel. Let's see if we can find the factory count here. It's all supply depots in here. It's a ton of Marines. So Flash, after all of this, has so many barracks still available making Marines, and this is bad for him because he wants to be able to transition into a tank army. You can see no upgrades on these tanks. The mech army's weak. Only 1-1 for these Marines here. And so that's really bad too. If you're running off 5 racks and not even going for like an SK Terran style build where you have drop Marines here, nothing dropping over here, no drop ships, and so Flash is in a lot of trouble. He is just slowly getting caved in on Jaedong's economy here. Oh, look at that, a quick pickoff on that Spider-Man. Oh, Spider-Man, okay, doesn't do a lot of damage here, and that's all Flash would be relying on here. Oh, the Tyrant pushing forward. Jaedong showing his strength. This is only a couple years after, 2 years after Jaedong was able to run the field with his Wyzong OZ or Oz team back in 2007 when they were the Pro League champions, and he just dominated everybody. All right, look at all the Lings and the Hydralisk pushing out again. Jaedong's got all these units caught down to the left side. Flash isn't able to escape between between these lurkers, the Hydralisk, the Lings. Everything's just going to get taken out right here. And in fact, unless this Science Vessel can't escape, the final Scorch, it does hit! The Hydralisk getting in range here too. They finally take out that one Science Vessel, that pesky Science Vessel that was camping there. And there's only one Science Vessel remaining in this game. All this is getting destroyed. Flash tried to take this base here while he had the time, while he had the defense, but everything's going to go down so quickly. The +2 carapace only. If one thing we can critique on Jaedong right now is the low attack upgrades. He hasn't been able to fit in even a single +1 attack. Okay, here we can see that Flash is going to try and go in for an engagement again. He knows that he's Defiler light. over at this left side army. So Flash, if he does push in here, he might have an attack that will take out all these units here. The Lurker's trying to run away as much as possible. There's no Scourge here. Scourge need to come in and take out the Science Vessel. That's the only way he can actually keep all of these units alive here. And Flash is just feeling the hunger right now as he pushes in. These A-move siege tanks with their beautiful range here, every single Lurker is going to go down. But another army's coming in from the backside. Avenge me, Brood. Jaedong is saying. He even throws down almost a self-harming plague here as he moves forward. A plague that would have been great on these siege tanks here. But he's going to go in. He's going to try and crush his army. 7 siege tanks and his total entire force here. And 5 of them are down here at the bottom left. If Jaedong can take ahead and set this into play mode. We're on fastest speed. Let me minimize the things that I don't need to see. And let's continue. Okay, again, next week you will be able to watch current replays of 424 AK Jaedong. If not, if anything, it's going to be Jaedong versus Zero, so JVZ, where he is just a masterful craftsman at that matchup. And if I can get some other ones, possibly last, it would be fun to watch last versus Jaedong. That would be great indeed. See how these players are going here. So the one thing about Colosseum, if you didn't know, and let me take away, I will take away the reveal in a second here, but the sunken colony is at the front here, and you can't really do too much with it, except for you have all this creep here, and you could build a sunken here if you wanted to. There's some potential for cheesiness. I don't think we're gonna see it. That's just my opinion. Alright, so down at the bottom right on Colosseum, we're gonna have Stork. And at the top left, we will have the Tyrant Jaedong. Jaedong said in his interview that he wants to return to Tyrant form, that he'll be upset if he does not return to Tyrant form, because it's so important for him to impress and show how strong he is to his fans and his viewers that have watched him from long ago. Alright. So Jaedong won against Flash. He already won a game on the map Fantasy, and he demolished Flash. Let's not skirt about that. He took him to town, taught him how Zerg is supposed to win here. And you know, Zergs have been having some trouble against Harem, except for the top 3 Zerg players have actually had great records against Harem players. Flash, though, is, I believe, 21-1 versus Zerg players these days. So a little bit different. Okay, now let's talk about the builds. Because we are back in 2009, December 2009, how is Protoss and PvZ going to play out? You could think, well, a Forge opening would make sense, but Gateway openings are also pretty solid here, and I'm okay with that. So we are going to see that it is the Gateway opening here, and, you know, we've got the Overlord scouting over to the right. We've got the drone already inside this base here, so Jaedong knows where his opponent is. And now we found the Zealot here, which is making its way across the map over towards Jaedong's base. So what kind of damage is Stork going to be able to do to Jaedong? We're going to have to sit back and watch here. The initial probe too. If he loses that probe, that would be huge. The probe is actually really key into this early game harassment, because it's just kind of like this nitpicky unit that can kind of do some extra shielding damage at the same time. But no, it does get taken out. In fact, Stork here is going to have to rely on only his Zealot micro, and there's not a lot of good spots for the Zealot to run to. Jaedong made so many Zerglings. Eight Zerglings. Wow. He really wants to commit to the Lynx, and he knows that, in fact, you know, this is kind of a soft block, a soft wall here. So once he's killed off that Zealot, which he just did, he can send his 8 Zerglings down to the bottom right and try and poke and prod and get in through here. And if this isn't adequately defended, if the Zealots aren't there correctly, then the Zerglings will get through. So we can see that 2 Zealots are going to try and hold this wall. A cannon is already up on its way. And you know what? Those 8 Zerglings may have just been enough of a threat to force Stork to build another cannon, but right now he's only sitting on 1. He's playing very conservative, and this is as good as it can be for him. Now, Stork's also been able to take this natural base here, so this is great for him too. He's mining from his gas, the core coming up right now, and from here you can either drop the Stargate right away. Let's see what he does. Or he could have gone for the Citadel Dude. But +1 speed timing was actually more popular going into 2010, late 2010, early 2011 is when Bisu started to go for +1 speed. Instead, we're seeing that while +1 is being researched, Corsair Tech is going to be on its way instead. Jaedong has 3 bases, and you know, this is fine. You can actually take 3 at 3 different locations, and Colosseum is a great map for you to take 3 close bases, kind of like on Fighting Spirit, where you can take all 3 of your bases pretty closely, and he's going to be able to take a gas at both of those bases. So that's where it's a really fair map for Zerg players, because your first 3 allow you basically a free gas, and that is absolutely critical. For a Protoss player, you could deal with an additional third base being a mineral only because you get the 2 initial gases at your main and your natural. But of course, Stork is going to be able to get that additional gas when he does expand to a third base too, which should be pretty easy for him. So a couple extra gateways coming up. Speed is on its way. I mean, it's such a great upgrade for Zealots. Zealots don't want to go out and start attacking and harassing until they have their speed, because otherwise you get caught to a lot of fickle positions where you can lose your core ground army early on and then be subject to a pretty fast counterattack of Zerglings and Hydralisks. Let's see if we can track down the Hydra Den here. So the Hydra Den is on its way. Lair Tech is coming up on its way too, but Jaedong's been mining from his 2 gases pretty consistently, so he's gonna have a lot of gas if he wants to go for a Hydra Lurker type build. If he just wants to go for a lot of Hydras, that's gonna be fine. But of course, because he's been mining those 2 gases for a long time, the most important thing is that he can go for a Spire, and even if he drops down an Extractor in the next minute or 2, he's gonna have a ton of gas coming out for him to go for Mutas. So we got to keep an eye out for how many Corsairs are going to be on the map. Right now, only 1 Corsair exists out on this map here. And what kind of damage is it doing? So we found the Corsair. It's gotten 1 kill. So it's picked off a single Overlord at this point. That's about as good as it can get. But he's going to just be using his Corsairs in this game for scouting instead of actually amassing a strong air army. This could hurt him if Jaedong senses that Stork has gone Corsair Light and he switches over to Mutas. Then Stork may actually have to rely on morphing High Templar into Archons to defend between the main and natural. And Archons they're kind of bulky, and it can be difficult to kind of bounce back between your bases and all the locations where Mutalisks can attack and harass. So speed done. +1 about to finish. +1 about to finish. How is it not done? Wasn't he? Okay, here it is. Literally about to finish. Okay, so that's not the neutral sunken colony here. That's an actual attacking sunken colony. A good amount of Zealots engaging here, and probably a worse place possible. Because I felt like between the sunken and the Zerglings, they got a lot of surround here. But somehow, this has been a strong enough army, a big enough army, that the Zealots aren't moving in here. And they've been able to kill off the initial force that Jaedong was trying to defend with here. Actually pulling in a couple drones here. He has the larva, he has the hatcheries to finish killing this off. So what happened here? What the hell did we just see? A Corsair that has 3 kills now is working on a 4th. Oh my god! Oh my god! What a save here! But Stork, he just lost his entire ground army. And what did he do? He traded drones. And in fact, Jaedong, he's figured out that the Dark Templar is out here too. And the Dark Templar has only picked off Zerglings. It can't even get inside this base. The Overlord's in a perfect position to defend that Corsair. If it had only just a second longer been able to pick off that Overlord, that Dark Templar could have done some heavy damage. No, it's gonna have to pull back. And I feel like Stork just traded a lot of army units for nothing, because there was no economic damage done. Let's look inside this base. 28 drones so far. You know, it's a little bit drone light, but that's fine. You don't actually drone up too heavily in StarCraft 1. If you're coming in StarCraft 2, obviously you just inject with a couple queens and you can propel your drone count super high. But you actually play a super low econ game in the PvZ matchup here. Now, Dragoons integral, you want about a 1 control group worth of Dragoons, and in fact, losing that one there is a big deal, because your Dragoons are going to be needed to combat the Lurker transition that we're already seeing come out for Jaedong. 4 Lurkers in total here. Wings just running back across the map here. A possible expansion? A possible expansion? No. Okay, so that's just a probe up there. I would imagine, though, that Nexus should come down very shortly at this point. Look at this, a cheeky move. The Lurkers attacking here, gonna be able to take out this pylon. They found themselves in a nice little nook here, and there's no observer. Where? What are you doing, Stork? He doesn't have any observers. And in fact, that's going to be troublesome when he's going to be dealing with Lurkers here. He can't even afford to build a base right now. So this is going to be troublesome. All right, let's look inside these bases. Make sure that I haven't missed anything critical. As we continue, the +1 range attack is going to continue here. Another hatchery coming down for Jaedong, and this has been the first moment of true silence that we've had in quite a while, and a very back and forth game here 42 drones. Can you see that? So we reached a 10-minute mark. Jaedong feels safe. He got an additional hatchery, and then he 20 plus drones upward. An incredible move here as he tries to get his economy upward, knowing that Stork has been thwarted quite a bit by not being able to take this opportune Nexus here. He doesn't have, an Archon where he could do the Archon Zealot trick to kill it off. He had to wait until he did get the Observers, and finally he does have an Observer out. Just a single Observer though. Meanwhile, these are Speed Overlords. Speed Overlords are done. We don't see anything inside them, so they're not transporting, but they're definitely in an eerie position, and the way that they're moving out across the map. Oh, look at this, the Mutas! We were talking about this earlier, weren't we? Off the 3 bases, he dropped that gas, and after he dropped that gas, he switched over to Mutas, knowing that Stork decided to go Corsair Light. These Mutas are going to try and do as much damage as possible now before High Templar are going to be able to storm it off. Oh, the storms! The High Templars get picked off. Jaedong playing so good. He picked off all 3 High Templars. What an incredible move here as he goes in here. Is he going to get the 4th? No! He's eliminated them all. All the High Templars dead. What a wonderful trade. That's so much gas and a wonderful set of moves from Jaedong here. Oh, the Mutas, they dive in. Even one Muta living, that's just salt in the wound here, as he does a wonderful job of picking off those tier 3 units. Okay, we can see that the Nexus coming down. There's no pesky lurkers behind here. Jaedong's got to be thinking 4th base, though. He's allowing Stork to take a 3rd, which means that he has to take a 4th. He's got to start thinking about expanding. So let's go click over here. No, that's just Lings over here. Where's the drone? Where's the drone? We're not finding it. But I love that he's sending so many Overlords down to the bottom left. So is this going to be... Oh, no. Oh, no. This is going to be Jaedong's signature Doom Drop. Oh, you guys are in for a show. Have you not seen a Doom Drop? Do you know what a Doom Drop is? This is going to be insane. Get up in there, y'all. It's a party time inside the tentacles. All right. Everything's getting loaded up. More units are able to move across the map shortly, too. Is Stork going to sense it? Gosu, Stork, Tak Bang, Lee Sing, Stork, you're part of the top 4. You should be able to sense this. The Observer, it is within range. There are a couple Zealots on the ground. Some cannons within range, too. The units are dropping quickly, though. The Lurkers have burrowed. The Doom is real. Oh, how many units are going to be able to come out, though? I feel like this is soft. I feel like this wasn't strong enough, Jaedong. Bring more units in. It was pretty essential that there were units on the back here to try and, cone off those Overlords from being able to get more units in here. But the Lurkers are spread out very nicely here. I love that. Actually, he's getting one more quick location here. With that spread, it's going to force 2 storms per Lurker if there's no Observer around, which is going to be really important. That Observer that was there got picked off by the Hydralisks that were with the Overlord. So he was able to do that too, which is why this is so deadly. There's no mining at this base. No mining. So really, he's relying on this one base because the main base is going to be low soon, and a huge attack is going to be coming at the 3rd. Jaedong, why attack at one base? No, he knows better. He's going to be attacking at the front, at the middle, on the right side, and all these units here are going to have to come in to defend. The storms are real, are they? Yes, the initial storm, 2 storms coming down. The blankets going over the Hydralisk here, and they're trying to take out as many as possible. In fact, Jaedong doesn't micro against that very well. Stork holds. Stork holds one more time here. Meanwhile, he's not able to take out these Lurkers yet. His attention at the choke point here. He knows if he loses the center, he loses the game. So he's going to have to hold on. Oh, one Lurker still trying to get its shot off. The Observer shortage is absolutely critical here. And can he get this next Observer? He's actually trying to dive in with his Overlords. He's tentative, but there's these Hydralisks here. Oh, a lot of them go right into Lurkers. Screw this, they say. Let's go into our greater aspect, and they're going into that Lurker form. Meanwhile, there's a ramp here, but there's no right attack. And what Stork doesn't have to defend against these constant assaults also is a Reaver. A Reaver would have been really nice to deal with this. But no, he's going to have to continue to defend with High Templars and Zealots. Look at this. The Observer finally finding some time to get over to the left side. All the Lurkers have been killed off over here, but there are still a bit of Overlords if they want to lift more units in. Next attack coming in from Jaedong. He wants to finish off with this single assault. He's not going to take his foot off the pedal. In fact, Jaedong has not taken another hatchery yet. He hasn't taken a 4th base. If Stork holds this 3rd, if somehow he defends infinitely like a mech army does for Terran, then he will be able to win this game because Jaedong might be all in soon here. This is huge. Let's take a look at his bases. He's getting Mineral Light. He's got a good amount at his 3rd base, but his natural's getting chewed down too. So this is really good for him. More Overlords coming up towards the left side. Maybe they're going to load up some more units here to add towards that natural base for the attack. This is a beautiful defense from Stork, still holding on here. He's microing his heart out, trying to bring back every Dragoon that takes a hit. The High Templar is going to get hit. It throws off one more Mayday Storm before it does go down here. And somehow, it's just hovering away infinitely from these units. The slowest death ever, but it does die for ire. All right. We can see that more Dragoons here, and this is the tricky part about this opening, is that the Dragoons have to single fire their way out into this playing field here, so it's not easy for them to join into the fight, but you can't kill off the gateway or the forge. I mean, you gotta hold on to those, because they're nice to block off in case Zerglings just try and run by and ignore all your units that are attacking towards the middle here. Alright, Jaedong, he's gotta be thinking, either I go for another Dune Drop attack, or I start doing mass expansions. This one hero Mutalisk. Actually, this Mutalisk that had damage healed all the way up to 120 health. You hardly see Mutalisks repair themselves all the way up. You know, regen all the way up to full health. They usually die off before that can happen. So Stork, now it's the calm before the storm again. It's like he got hit with the first hurricane, and now the second hurricane is coming in here, going for another set of drops. So many Zerglings in here, and they almost all just died by being in this poor little Overlord that is not very good at commanding itself around the battlefield. When let's look over here, we can see that just Zerglings are kind of scouting around. Jaedong's decided to take almost a forward hatchery instead of a unaggressive hatchery up here, which is where I would have expected is a 12 o'clock expansion. God, we're 17 minutes into the game. This has been quite an amazing feat by Stork. He's been able to hold on here. He has 51 probes in total. We can see that it's 41 drones here for Jaedong. And at this point in the game, I would again assert that one, he's base light and he's drone light. Okay, let's look at the upgrades though. We have +2. A melee upgrade has already been researched here, but +2 on the spines too. Very important that he continues to get those upgrades so he can combat the mid and late game. Well, we're on late game. I'm sorry. The late game Protoss player was +3, 39 AoE damage, and he just shoots electricity out of his fists like Emperor Palpatine. I mean, Archons are the shiznig. All right. Looks like Stork's going to be pushing out with his mid-game army, 139 supply. He's got 12 Dragoons, 10 Zealots, 4 Archons, and 8 High Templar. Need I say he need more? Okay, so Stork looking to power his way through and take out this expansion here. The 4th base going to be critical for Jaedong here, and if he does lose it, this is going to be a huge win for Stork, who might actually be able to expand behind this and take a 4th base himself down at the 12 o'clock location. So I would expect that Stork's trying to, equip himself with that sort of game plan. Where can I take a 4th base? Storm's coming out right on top of the units that are coming outside of this Nidus Canal. Not the best network to be going through here. And this is just crazy. We can see now the abundance of observers, 5 observers that are actually onto the playing field here. The Dragoons are just going to be able to easily pick things off, even on the high ground, because of the observer site that's going to allow these units to hit. And anything under the Dark Swarm, the Zealots are going to engage to. Oh, it looks like a single Zergling ran in here. I was a little cautious here as I saw a little bit of yellow move in. Oh. Overlords are moving in. Are they going to be sacrificing themselves? That's the key question here. Look, we are going to see a Defiler coming in from the right side as soon as a Dark Swarm comes down. Dark Swarm, you're coming in late. Yes, double Dark Swarms coming down right away. But you know what? The Archons with their AoE damage are going to just completely demolish any Zerglings that do run in. And once again, well, we have an 8-kill Archon, a 2-kill, 3-kill. Oh, that's a little bit less than I thought. I was hoping to see a higher kill Archon. An 8-kill High Templar, though, that's pretty good. That means the Storms have been going off pretty effectively for that dude down there. Meanwhile, yep, still just Zerglings over there. Got to keep an eye on all these bases. You never know when they're going to sneak it in. You can see that now the 4th base for Stork is going to be coming up. If Stork gets this 4th base, if he defends this, this is going to be it. He will be able to win this game. Can the Tyrant go undefeated today? I don't know. I have not seen these replays. Back December 9th, 2009, one of these WCGs, Jaedong did win. But is this the one here against Stork? Oh man, I remember WCGs back in the day. You know, World Cyber Games was absolutely fun. It was great to see, and I'm sorry, I did miss that the Zerglings did run in here and take out this Nexus, a pretty key moment there. I was just trying to digress into the fact that WCG almost switched into mobile competitive gaming. I'm not kidding. And there was like this whole catastrophe because even Farmville was listed on like the competitive games that was going to be played. It was going to be mobile and social network gamings and all new WCG lineup. And that's terrible. Okay, back to the game here. We've got a whole new set of units here. Now Stork, he didn't get this base down at the bottom left. And he's moving across the desert here with his core army. Because if he can't take a 4th base, then he needs to start knocking down Jaedong wherever he can. Somehow Jaedong held this 4th with this Nidus Canal, with the Dark Swarms and the high ground. There wasn't a back door here. There was only one way to enter, which is why he was able to hold that ramp so effectively, especially since that Nidus Canal finished at such a key timing. But you know what? There's still a lot of minerals here to mine from, a decent amount of drones, and look at this! He got the Nidus Canal down! This time the Nidus Canal does fall. If he can pop all of these lurkers, if he can take them out with some key storms, Stork once again will put himself in a position where he can win this game. Look down at the bottom left, we're seeing a couple cannons coming up, another Nexus here. That's just Overlords over there. But the more Zerglings coming in. Zerglings, such an effective unit. We've seen that in the Sospa era, how it could hurt you if you don't get all of the upgrades and turn these Zerglings into Cracklings. I believe it was Killer versus C, where Killer threw an entire game because he played a 35-minute game and didn't get the Crackling upgrade. So important. Okay, another set of blue balls coming down for Stork, and not in the way that you think here, the offensive blue balls. All right, so these cannons are here, but if we have 12 Zerglings will probably come in here and take down this Nexus, especially with the upgrades that they have at this point. 3-2 Zerglings, so close to being fully upgraded, and you can see so much yellow still on the map. Of course, up here at the top left, Stork's managed to still stay alive. He's pushing through with 3 High Templar, 4 Archons, and I still have a problem with this because he's not able to engage very effectively into these sunken colonies with the way they've been hidden behind the hatcheries here. But somehow he's managed to take out all of the sunkens. This base is, in all respects, completely demolished. And Stork has been able to take out one of the 4 base locations that Jaedong has. But is it enough? Is it enough? Because Jaedong has this additional base over here. But let's look. Stork almost mining out his 3rd base location. His natural and his main have been mined out. He has to hold this location here. Meanwhile, because of the mining efficiency of a Zerg player and the fact that this hatchery wasn't taken out, oh brother, Stork, you needed to kill this. He killed off all these buildings. He fought so many military units, but he didn't get drones. He didn't get a hatchery, and we have to officially say, Jaedong, you are in the lead. All right, we need a lead meter, and it needs to go back and forth from left to right based on what we're seeing in the game, and that just needs to be updated so we can see how quickly it shifts back and forth between these two players, and what a crazy game we're seeing of StarCraft 1. I thank you all for this, for joining in on this cast. I am your host, BisuDagger. If you came for Jaedong, you'll see 4 replays of him today, and then you'll see 424 AK Jaedong replays next Thursday. Current SoSport replays. Right now, it doesn't get any better than watching the top 4 StarCraft players all go against Jaedong. All right, another hatchery is going to be coming up here too, so this is going to be great. What Jaedong wants to do is hold this middle now. He's going to start constructing his bottom left as he constructed his top left, so that way he can defend at this location and at this location too. And Stork, where is he going to take a 5th base? Because that's what he's got to be thinking now. And so let's see, we found the pylon coming up, and if he can get a few cannons down, then it will be safe for him to build a nexus over there. Oh, the drop's coming down. So 2 annoying lurkers already. He's just going to leave 1 behind. It's such a low health lurker anyway, but what it's doing is it's eliminating the mining from these 3 patches, and any probes that aren't babysat are going to get killed off here. So this is great for him. 21 drones in total for Jaedong though. So, I mean, while we see that there's still a decent amount of drones mining over here, he had to bring over a significant amount of drones to defend while he was wheeling off this attack that happened at the 3rd base location. Still, Stork's army is getting pretty good. 125 supply for Stork. Meanwhile, Jaedong is at 67 supply, and this has been a great game indeed. Jaedong's got the 5th base though. He's got the 5th base advantage. We can see though, Stork is so close to dropping down that extra nexus. 600 minerals, 400 gas. He's still able to macro out units. Meanwhile, Jaedong's pretty thinned out. His economy is going to be coming in pretty softly here. He doesn't have a lot of units to defend, and because of that, because it's the 23 drone count, Jaedong isn't able to keep his economy ahead. Even with all these extra bases, we could say they're practically useless. And Stork's been playing this game pretty brilliantly. Oh, look at that. Another lurker did come in here. These drops will just continue and continue and continue. Because that's Jaedong's most important play. If you guys remember Hero versus Bisu, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and one of the Sonic Star Leagues, Hero was able to do the same exact thing to Bisu, and he dropped these lurkers behind the mineral patches, and it kept Bisu back at home, and he constantly had to worry about his economy. And meanwhile, he was trying to push out and attack with these units here. He wasn't actually able to do enough damage because of these counterattack drops that Jaedong's trying to pull off here. But still, I think it's fruitless. The army supply is way too strong for Stork this time. And I think that this is going to be the final blow. 11 drones. And 11 drones in total. And they are not mining that effectively right now. We can see that the storm's just going crazy. 77 supply in total. Oh, these Zerglings trying to pick off the Archon before it does morph, which it does rather successfully. No attack down here at the bottom left, but no drones either. We can see that the mineral patches have mined out. Jaedong has nothing left. He literally has nothing. So while his tournament life is on the line, and he doesn't want to lose a single match in these best of that he's playing against Stork here, I mean, he's going to have to tap out eventually. And I think that this will ring the bell as the Zealots are able to take out this hatchery. All right. I'm going to take my water break as we continue to watch the carnage of Stork take down the Tyrant. I'm sorry that I'm providing you with a game where Jaedong lost, but what a game, what a game. All right, let me play some music, relax for a second, and then we'll get into game number 3.
I was cool, and when I finally got sober, felt 10 years older, but fuck it, it was something to do. I'm living out in LA, I drive a sports car just to prove I'm a real big baller, cause I made $1 million and I spend it on girls and shoes. But you don't wanna be.
If you missed it, I am wearing a hat from China that collapses. This is magical. This is a magical hat. I'm getting actually rather hot though. It's amazing that this is like a very light hat, yet it warms my head up completely. So I'm just gonna set this aside. It had its purpose. Alright everybody, welcome to Weekly Dagger number 10. Thank you all for joining in my Korean Weekly. I am excited to have all you viewers with me. I am your host BisuDagger. I am wearing some of my China gear here. I am too big for this shirt that you would wear as a normal traditional shirt in China. So I wear it as a vest. And I feel like it's pretty comfortable. It's a decent amount of swag. And in fact, maybe I'll wear this over my work outfit tomorrow. Quick announcement. Next, in 2 weeks, while I remember, I will be in Seattle. So I will be casting from my Seattle hotel if I am able to. Because the cast must go on. Right? Okay. Guys, I'm so happy that you guys can watch this with me. If you don't know, I've been casting StarCraft 1 for nearly 4.5 to 5 years now. It has been really cool. I've casted the Sonic Star League 9, 10, 11. Did we have a 12th? If we did, I casted that too. I casted the Africa Star League, GOM TV Classic, Vance Star League, and the Kongdu Star League. I also casted 4 or 5 of the Sonic ranking tournaments. I've casted Love TV's tournament, and I have just had a phenomenal time being able to cast all those games for you. So if you haven't heard of me before, welcome to my stream. I am BisuDagger, and I will take you on this journey as we watch my favorite player Bisu against our favorite player Jaedong. Oh yes. Alright, so a little history behind this. We are going to be watching Bisu versus Jaedong. This replay was uploaded by Harem, and he made the comment that said, just too good. Just too good. Yes, I'm excited about that. April 1st, 2011. 2011. This was towards the end of the Kespa era, of course, but these players still just ballin'. Alright, now we are on the map Carthage. Whoa, Carthage. Do you guys remember that map? Let's do a full reveal. Okay, so now we can see Carthage, and we're going to go down here at the bottom right. Let's see what the Zerg player can do here to get outside of this map. Look at that. No ramp to get out of the base. A decent choke point. And then where's the gas? A gas over here, a mineral only over here, and then a gas over here. So for Protoss, yeah, in the same manner, no ramp, a decent choke point, and then the gas over here and a mineral over here. You guys get the point. Let's put the reveal map back. Let's get back into this. Set the fast mode, or fastest mode, and now we are back into this cast. All right. Here we go, and yeah, some great names on here. In fact, I introed the entire cast with a Jaedong highlights video from YouTube, and that was actually made by Conadora. So if you guys are familiar with his old soul name, you can actually find more Conadora highlight StarCraft 1 videos, and I will be playing this one at the end too. So if you want to, you will see that. Wait. Hold on. I think, yeah. Oh, yeah. Blind Roar and I have actually come across this replay before. This is not the right one. We're going to exit this. Oh, as I was talking about it, Blind Roar, before I even saw the, like, your bail on Twitch, I was thinking, wait, there's too many names that are familiar. We've seen this before. We actually fell into this trap a long time ago. If you guys hang tight, I'm gonna give you some music, and I'll get the proper replay that I need.
Let me see you get down. Let me see you get down.
Man, that was getting real dubsteppy at that point in the song. Whoa. All right. We're just going to go ahead and skip the Bisu versus Jaedong. It's already gone, an hour and a half into the cast, and we don't know how long Jaedong versus Fantasy is going to go. So I say let's just go ahead and jump into this one. And you know what? If I have time, I'm going to throw into you a special Bisu replay next week. But no. Next week is all about Jaedong. 2 weeks from now, a special Bisu replay. How about that? Okay, on top of that, next Tuesday, big announcement. Big. This is life-changing. Okay, so hype for that. If anybody who wants to watch non-Korean StarCraft, this is all about foreigners. Next Tuesday, I will do my Brood War Weekly number 11 for the foreign casting. So you guys can join there or come back for Jaedong next Thursday. Let's go ahead and load up the fantasy replay here. I'm assuming this one's going to be legit. This is the problem when I get replays not from the proper sources. Okay. Whoa. Benzene 1.1. Okay. So let's go ahead and reveal this entire map. And this definitely looks legit here. What a map indeed. And set this up the fastest. Yep. So what you want to do is find out where the ramps are. Yeah. So we have a decent ramp coming down out from the main base. The decent choke point at the natural. Okay, and I guess this is kind of like match point. Benzene is similar to match point, and how you kind of expand downward, to take the right side of the base if you want to. The third is a mineral only. Oh, how fun. Okay. So down at the bottom left, our final game of the day, it is going to be the Tyrant Jaedong. At the top right, it is going to be Fantasy. Guys, this is coming at you from the official date of 2012. And hopefully these are the real players here. We can see that the APM, though, already spouting out high numbers. 400 APM for Jaedong. Meanwhile, 300 APM for Fantasy. You know, Hero has some monster APM, 450 to 500. But Jaedong, he was nothing short of spectacular when it came to APM also. All right. Anybody who's missed the games, you missed a Jaedong versus Flash matchup, and then you missed a Jaedong versus Stork. Both games were really good. Jaedong with a 1-1 record today. We'd like to see him be able to defeat Fantasy, but Fantasy's versus Zerg is always just a mystery. And if you ever want to watch a rivalry between Fantasy and a Zerg player, watch Fantasy versus Calm. Those are the most entertaining games you'll ever see. And Calm clams himself up. Fantasy does whatever Fantasy does, and it always turns out to be something spectacular. If you want to watch 2 Starport games, go look up Lita. Okay, we're gonna see. Oh man. Oh, I got something awesome to tell you guys. I may have gotten rid of it. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see here. I'm just gonna leave that on the screen because there is some cool news, guys, coming up here. And where is it? Where is it? The Thrill Star League, guys. The Thrill Star League is coming up, and I want to read off the players in just a second here, if I can. We've seen a couple Marines coming out of the barracks. Okay, so the Thrill Star League is going to have Shuttle, Tyson, Jaehoon, Sky, Sharp, Blast, Mind, Bong, Haya, Piano, Effort, Miso, Sulky, Zero, Hoja, and S2. What? Hoja and S2 coming back onto the scene. Sky and Tyson, we haven't seen compete in a while, so this is great. Haya, the Fishy King, is going to be coming out here too. Miso, like Miso Soup, is going to be wrecking it too. So we're going to have a great tournament coming up. This is from the broadcasting jockey Thrill, and all his supporters are sponsoring this tournament. What a lineup indeed. That is going to be great, great, fascinating. Get ready to get your liquid bets all feathered up. I have to do one ace match liquid bet, and then hopefully we can restart the season and get ready. Going into 2017, it's going to be strong. We're going to have the next ASL coming up, and you know, it's just going to be amazing, amazing next year of StarCraft, especially if the telecoms get even more involved. Speed is on the way. Speedlings trying to pick off this SCV that Fantasy is using to scout around and get some nice vision of his opponent. Meanwhile, Supply Depot being built at the front, kind of askew. It's a weird angle here because it's leaving a gap, but maybe if he goes like Supply Depot racks or just builds another Supply Depot here or a bunker, it's just, I guess, preference to him on how open he wants to leave this this choke point outside of his natural base. The command center is on its way, and another barracks is coming up. So this is just a basic racks expand here. The economy is going to be really good because you do get that faster command center, but you get slower tech if you were thinking about going towards, you know, mech at all. But I like this. I like this. We are just seeing it is going to be bio strong early on here, and in fact, that Overlord does get scared away here, and it's just going to have to be right over on the other side of the cliff. Meanwhile, Jaedong, he's not doing anything for defense. He's already got a lair, though. Pretty nice lair timing here. The Spire on the way. So this is going to be 2 base Spire tech. So when you're coming off 2 base Spire tech, you want to start thinking, okay, as a Terran player, where do you have to start guarding your base? So it's kind of an open left side here, all wide open. So I would expect to see like a turret here, a turret down here. He's gonna need at least 2 turrets, but the beautiful thing is actually he could put a turret here instead of inside here, because the mutas can't attack behind this mineral line. There's just not a lot of room for them to micro. So a turret also maybe between these 2 barracks would be nice. And then I would say you could put a turret here and a turret here. So we'll just have to keep an eye out. I always like trying to determine where the turrets are going to go up first, because if I'm even close to being right, it makes me feel good as a caster. So the Lings working their way back again. You can see that there still isn't a scouting SCV out and about. The mutas are on the way though. Not like a quick +1 or anything. It's just going to be literally 6 to 9 mutas coming out here. There should be mutas here. Yep. Okay. So we'll see that pop really quickly here. 4 overlords. Supplies are staying pretty even right now. And here they come. The timing. The timing. They're going to come squawking out of the eggs here. We have 7 Mutalisks in total as they make it over towards the right side. Meanwhile, Fantasy, he's got a decent timing coming out here. He's got his 2 medics with his Marines. No upgrades, though. Just know he hasn't had time to actually get the upgrades. Oh, he got the stim. He got the stim completed, which is completed just in time. But I imagine that range is something that still has to be coming through here. I wonder if we can find that academy. Yeah, you can see that range has not been completed, which makes these Marines much more difficult to control against the mutas. Jaedong, though, he's done his initial attack here, and now he's going to push out and try and see what damage he can do. So we do have the 2 turrets guarding the main base here, and one further outward than I would have expected here, but the one by the gas for sure. This is a decent amount of mutas here, and they're coming in with this scary Jaedong muta micro that we are used to seeing. The Tyrant going crazy inside this main base already. What is Fantasy going to do in response? He's going to have to bring his units back inside. He's so light on racks. He only has 2 barracks. If he loses Marines, the production to defend is going to be so slow. And Jaedong, he's trying to make the best trades he can. That turret is quite the menace, though. It's got a few shots off here. We can see that 9 mutalisks in total. 2 more being added in on the left side. And this is going to be a continued strong attack here. The 3rd barracks being done just in time. Still, 3 racks is short. Unless Fantasy is trying to go mech, which he's not. He's not trying to go mech because he doesn't have a 2nd gas yet. He's not even mining from his 1st. He might as well try and drop down another if he can, but it's all about just mass marine production because he can see that his income isn't even enough since he wasn't mining a lot with his SCVs at this main base. God, so much goes on in Brood War. Okay, so these mutalisks are picking off everything. Every single marine has been surgically eliminated from the main base, and it seems that Fantasy is just getting picked apart by what we're seeing is just the most beautiful display of Mutamicro here. I just feel like not enough turrets for so little barracks. That's your problem, Fantasy. You didn't turret hard enough. But we can see the +1 upgrade is almost finished. The range is done. There's going to be some pretty stout Marines. And without any upgrades, carapace nor attack, you know what? These mutas are going to get slowly picked off at this point here. This Sting coming in here with the range. They're going to be able to hit these units as they try and escape and run away. So the mutas, they come back. Still, 11 mutas are in existence here. And if you're looking at the yellow on the left side and you're wondering what it is, it's just a power generator. Calm yourselves. Calm yourselves. All right. So, the SCVs transferring here. If only Jaedong just glanced in a little bit earlier, he would have been able to see those SCVs and tried to pick off. A quick kill on this turret, though, right? Yeah, so the turret goes down. The nice turret at the back here, though. I love that. A sneaky little one with the SCV, trying to do what he can to guard the south side of this natural base and keep these mutas at bay. This is such a tough game for him so far. Meanwhile, Jaedong, he's only just now taking a 3rd base. What you try and do is take that 3rd a little bit earlier, knowing that your mutas are going to work, but you're going to need a 3rd base to actually transition well and compete against a Terran player, which can take all the damage that it's taken and still survive this. Wow, so the SCV's getting run away here. The mutas are picking off so many. Another turret's going to go down. The Marines are out of position. Fantasy has decided, like I have, to take his hands off and just let his Marines go and for this deadly attack of the 3rd base, probably? Lurker aspect's almost finished. You know, his Comsat's about to be taken out here. There's only going to be 1 Comsat station. He's not going to be able to get the scans out. The Lurkers are going to be in the best possible place to defend here. Again, this map is so similar to Matchpoint if you're familiar with it. And this top left base is gonna be a pretty easy hold here with all these Lurkers. Oh, Fantasy calls it GG. What a reckoning by Jaedong. Wow. Does that not put a smile on your face if you're a Zerg fan? Because those mutalisks won everything. And that's what Jaedong did repeatedly. It didn't matter how many turrets. It didn't matter how many SCVs, how good the economy was. Jaedong consistently crushed Terran players with the strength of just 1 control group of mutalisks. What a game, what a game. All right. Well, you know what? That's going to be it for the day. Someone's saying, I think that guy isn't Fantasy. If that wasn't Fantasy, I don't know. Fantasy, when he plays against Zerg players, tends to just kind of foobar. And Jaedong played so well, I wouldn't be surprised if that's Fantasy just not playing well. Supernova Maniac saying that it's the wrong replay. But, you know what? It says Fantasy on the top left. We're going with it. All you guys, we're just going to call you liars, right? Oh, boy. Oh, you guys are having fun, aren't you? Well, I feel like I'm going to disappoint you guys if I stop streaming. Alright, if you guys want me to cast one more replay with Jaedong, spam 1 in the chat. And if you don't, spam 2. Alright, I'll give you guys a minute. I'm going to play some music. I'll find the next replay if you guys want me to cast more. I get what you're saying because it was a GG. You guys are brilliant. I'm not sure how to interpret that -1, so I'm going to add an absolute value function around it. All right, you guys have won. We're doing one more cast. Oh God, I'm so happy. So happy you guys are here with me. And listen, this doesn't have to be a one-time thing. All hundreds of you that are here, you can come back next week and there will be more of this, and it will be even better and more current and more Jaedong. So please come back. And any of you guys who want to contribute and donate towards StarCraft players like Zero or Last, you can use my PayPal account. I promise you the money gets to them. Leave a note saying that you want to donate towards them, and then they will give us replays. And I make all of these replays available after my cast on Icy Cup /replays. So you also will be able to get access to those afterward. So you're basically paying not one to donate to your favorite players, to get replays that are casted, and then also get replays that you can use yourself. So this is like the most win thing ever. If you want to donate to the foreign scene, I am doing a fight club starting in 2017. Already have $250 ready for it from all donations that have come to my stream. If you want to donate towards that, please do so. All right, that's the last I'm going to do for going after your money. Let's get back into this. Weekly number 10. Let's do Jaedong versus Mind. All right. Okay, so Jaedong versus Mind. Let's see. This is called Witness the Power, provided by In Control. Now, on the map Othello, November 12th, 2008. Okay, and Othello. We haven't looked at that one today. Let's do a reveal. Okay, so this is a 4-player map. You can see that you can spawn down here at the bottom right. You can spawn here down at the bottom left. We're going to see at the top left here. This is kind of like Python, but like rotated in a sense here. And we're going to see, okay, so if you're going to come out of this base, you actually expand towards your opponent here. Come down a ramp. You've got a gas here. You can take a third base gas base that's even riskier towards your opponent, or you could take a mineral only away. Zerg players, oh, you got to be salivating in a Protoss versus Zerg matchup. This has got to be great for Zerg players. But if you want to take a faraway base, you probably just want to go for a main base as a Zerg player. Maybe take the bottom right. Okay, let's get back into this. Reveal map taken away. Perfect. And yes, my replays are new, other than today's cast. Last week they were new. The week before they were new. Every week I'm getting replays from Zero, where he gets King of the Hill sponsored matches, and he gives them to Lamada, who delivers them to me. So we do have fresh new replays. Next week it will be 424 aka Jaedong replays that will be available. There was just a mishap today, and I couldn't apologize more for not having those available to you guys. And I hope you've been able to enjoy my cast regardless. At the top right, we're going to have Othello here. Or no, on Othello, we're going to have at the top right, Jaedong. It's been a long night for me, bear with me. At the top left, we will have our Terran player Mind. And this is how you know it's a truly Korean replay, because what the hell are these names? It's just gloriousness indeed. Floating at over 400 APM between both these players. Absolute Gosus. I literally couldn't just smash my hands on the keyboard and get that high. Even if I did like the APM cheat to drill it as high as possible, I couldn't do it. It just, there's this magical barrier that prevents me from being Gosu or Korean. Well, maybe my parents also not being Korean is what prevents me from being Korean, but you know what the deal is. Oh boy, this has been fun though. Jaedong, he has torn apart Fantasy and he tore apart Flash today. His JVT has been absolutely awesome today. He's been picking apart Terran players. Mind is a solid Terran player though. He has some pretty early shenanigans here. And yes, of course, that's another generator. But he has some early game shenanigans of like one to two barracks that do a lot of damage to Zerg players because they just don't sense the awkward timing of like 4 Marines and 1 medic going across the base, and it generally gets some damage done. Actually, usually it's around 5 Marines instead of 4. 5 Marines is where the damage is at. So Jaedong, he's already thrown down the hatchery down at his natural base. You can see this spawning pool is coming up. No gas quite yet, but I imagine that is going to be the follow-up. We've seen him use Mutalisk so well in the last game that we saw against Fantasy. But in the game against Flash, he went for a fast macro hatchery, a later gas, and then when he teched up the lair, it was for a Hydralisk to go into Lurker Aspect and deal with that on the old school map he was playing on. Alright, we can see that Mind already constructing his command center here, just going for that basic Rax expand. And you know what, if Jaedong had gone for like a faster spawning pool and managed to get Lings out quicker, he could have done some pretty good harassment here. It's a wide open area. It's pretty hard to defend. In fact, anybody who's not Mind, I would recommend actually building a bunker either here or here. I actually prefer it here because it causes more area to run around to get over to the ramp. And it just is one more deterrent from a group of 8 or 10 Lings getting inside the base. Now you can see already 2 Marines coming across. This is what Mind does. He doesn't even wait for a medic. He pushes out with 2 Marines. He's going to see if he can pick off a drone or 2. And that's going to be enough to be considered a win. Oh, but he is just bouncing them back here. We can see the SCV inside the base here. Not an early Marine, trust me. That's a macro hatchery coming up. The extractor here. And once it gets to 100, we will see the lair tech on its way. Meanwhile, the SCV is Maynarded over to the right side. If you don't know what Maynarding is, look it up on Liquipedia. While you're there, learn about all the different cool StarCraft 1 builds you could do in the TVZ matchup to try and get as good as Jaedong. This SCV, quite the nuisance here, still getting all the scouting possibilities here. And 35 health remaining. Of course, it won't regenerate, but look at that. It's just like scooting through everything. And Mind is just having a ball in time with this SCV party over here. Meanwhile, looking at the main base, or the natural base, the extractor coming up here too. So with this second extractor, this is a pretty big indicator with the lair also that that this is going to be a 2-base Spire type play. Mutalisks are going to come out one more time, and how effective are they going to be? We're seeing the difference here though is that I really think that the Marines are coming out a lot quicker than we saw against Fantasy. And I think that this Marine force is going to be solid enough to deal with the Mutas this time. Meanwhile, the engineering bay should be dropping very shortly here for the additional turrets to come up. This is also a better map, I think, to defend with your turrets. So you'll have 2 to 3 at the natural base. And in fact, you generally see more turrets at the natural than at the main. I don't know why that is. For me, I have this natural instinct to guard my home, my main base as heavily as possible when I play Terran, but that's why I'm primarily a Protoss player. I don't care about my home as a Protoss player. Alright. So lots of Lings coming across here to try and pick off some easy Marines, but you know what? These Marines are already stimming in. Some Fire Bats being added with this, and this is going to be pretty solid for Mind as he does push out here. These Fire Bats can deal so much heavy damage if the Zerglings do get grouped up. Meanwhile, look at this down at the bottom right. Jaedong is going for a third base. This is typical. This is actually way more standard than we saw in the last game, where you get your third base out while you start to get your Mutalisks. Where is the Spire? Let's keep looking for it. So Spire done. Mutalisks are on the way. We're going to see the initial group done in just a minute here. Hang tight, fellas. As we see Mind going for a stim to run across the map. Maybe he's going to try and get some damage done. But Jaedong, sensing that there is a little bit of danger here before the Mutas do get out, is building a second sunken colony again. Of course, this can break. The Lings are going to have to come back. Mind is actually pushing a really nice timing here if he does decide to go in. Oh, man. You bastard. Get back there. Attack. Attack. But he knows that the Mutas are coming out. He's not going to do it. He sensed that Jaedong would be well prepared for this defense, and he is going to be pulling his units back home. Meanwhile, what the Firebat does here is it tries to see if there's a late drone that comes through for him to pick off. You can see actually he was so close to being able to pick off that one drone here, and eventually he can make it down to the right side base location if it needs to pick off or try and wear down that hatchery. Okay, let's look inside here. Oh boy. Pause 1 second. I promise you I'll be right back. My BisuDagger, the husky Delilah, is howling outside. Apparently I've stranded her for far too long. Quick music break. I'll be back in less than a jiffy. Bear with me. Bam.
Shadow in the background of the moor, the unsuspecting victim of darkness in the valley. We can live like Jack and Sally if we want, where you can always find me.
Alright, I'm back. I told you that was going to be quick. Oh, someone talking about We Made Fat Fox. Throwback there. Okay. Oh, look at the turrets on the high ground here. Trying to be cheeky, but you know, I don't like the turrets on the high ground because you don't have a lot of SCVs there to go for the repair, so they will get picked off pretty easily. You can't really bring Marines over there to defend. Now we're seeing the 3 turrets that I was talking about, but he could have done this sooner. I really prefer the 3 turrets inside of the mineral line instead of up there. So, I mean, I don't think it's even nitpicky. I think that this is just a standard that you should follow. But whatever, let's let Mine do his thing. Meanwhile, let's look down at the bottom right. An SCV, and oh boy, it's taken out how much health there? Almost 100. It is going crazy. That little taser is having fun. Meanwhile, the Mutas outside trying to pick apart any of these Marines that are pushing out. +1, not quite done yet. Stim has already finished up for those Marines. Obviously, range has finished up, but no attack upgrades so far for these units. We can see that no damage has been taken so far. Oh yeah, let's look inside here. I'm sorry, give me a second to locate these Mutas back one more time here. We see the Mutas that were bouncing around. They were taking actually significant amount of damage. You can see they're all kind of pumpkined up, as the casting Archon likes to call that. And how many Mutalisks? We got 6 Mutalisks that are remaining here. So many units that are moving down here towards this base location here. And, oh, my dog has walked inside. Okay, the Lurkers are on top of the ramp trying to block these units from getting up inside. Can the Marines not get up there? Can they not? You know what? The stim and the attack, it's going to slowly wear this down. The +10 armor, though, is just absolutely immense. In fact, the Lurkers are in more danger once they actually finish morphing here than they are in the egg. So that's just one thing to note. Here come the Mutas along with the Lings. The stalling has been complete. The stalling is real. And Jaedong has been able to hold off Mind here as he finishes and takes out all of these Marines. The mech has been destroyed here. Oh, looks like this brave little SCV just camping outside saying nah with his mineral patch inside of his hands. The Lurker's catching off the reinforcements coming across the map here too. But with a scan, a nice little fancy scan there, Mind has been able to take out whatever Lurkers were blocking off those reinforcements. We can see though a few Mutas are out on the map, but this is the transition now. What you can do is you can take those Mutas, you can stash them away off to the top right side of the map if you're Jaedong. Just put them up there on the shelf and then get a greater spire later and use your guardians to attack on top of this base. Guardians, oh, so good. They'll get some awesome attacks in there, and then it will force a lot of irradiates out from these science vessels, and hopefully Jaedong would keep the science vessel count down. Yeah, that's a real build. Trust me, a lot of Zerg players do love to get that transition into Guardians in the TVZ matchup if they can keep the Mutos alive here. But it seems like Jaedong's just going to continue to use them as an integral part of his core army. And I'm not sure what he's doing with his army. I guess he's just trying to balance the playing field down at the bottom left. Meanwhile, Mind, he is looking for his first opportunity to push out. So if you do have enough mutas, you can try and go for either a science vessel pickoff or a siege tank pickoff. But I still think that with just the 3 mutas, the dive-in would not be good enough to pick off either unit. So it's actually going to be down to Scourge. But with the 2 tanks here, this is going to become a pretty solid push here. And look at this, some nice pickoffs already. Getting a couple Marines, getting the medics. Jaedong has too much. Jaedong has too much. Mind, you're going to have to run away. Oh my god, he's not getting away fast enough here. He's trying to A-move these tanks as easily as possible. Oh, he's going to keep all of them alive? No, no, no. Jaedong's just too good. A D-Matrix does come down. The Lurkers in great positioning here. Mind is losing everything. This initial push has absolutely been crushed. And Jaedong may actually start to take a 4th base behind this as he keeps Mind at bay. This is defender's advantage for Mind, though. He should be able to defend this. A nice Scourge running in here, too, knowing that there was a defenseless science vessel. What these Lurkers are doing, they're keeping everything away from his bases. Jaedong, he could take a 4th here, or he could take actually the close 4th, might actually be pretty nice, or this natural from the bottom right location would be a great spot for Jaedong to expand. So I'd say either we're going to see another hatchery come up here or another hatchery pop up here. But once he gets on the 4 gases, he's going to be a really, really strong Zerg player going into the late game against Mind. Mind's still trying to hold with a mid-game style army. Hasn't completely switched over to Mac. Running off of 5, now 6, 7. Oh, he's going heavy racks. This is like a full commitment into the bio. And he's got +1/+1. But I wonder if he's going to continue to push that forward. Yes. So look at that 2 engineering base. He's going to have 2/2. She's shorting up on that +2 attack upgrade very shortly here. And that's going to play out really well for him. 8 racks? 8 racks in total. And the production is going to get absolutely out of control. This is why I would have liked to see Jaedong and this lull and this silence be able to take a 4th base. Behind this, only 42 drones. I mean, well, 42 drones is fine. You're trying to play a little bit more low econ here, but he hasn't used this opportunity either to 1, take an additional hatchery, or 2, get up to 50 drones, which would really help him throughout this game. So the Lurkers are moving in, trying to hold this area off one more time, even with these science vessels. You know, really, this is why those tanks are so integral. And he's making tanks very slowly because he only has that initial factory with the machine shop add-on. So without the siege tanks, he can't hit these long-range spines. The Lurkers from this area here, he's gonna have to go in for radiance. Oh my god, the sabotage here. Mind throwing the game. Suicidal units. These science vessels defected. They said no more. I will not take the tyranny of Mind here, and they have just sent themselves across. Poor science vessels. RIP indeed. Alright, so Jaedong still playing a wonderful game. He actually is finally taking my advice, getting that 4th base up, getting the additional gas, and he's going in! He's going to do it one more time. Not going to tolerate tanks on the field. Siege tank count reduced from 4 to 3 now. So many Marines getting picked up. Only 24. Only 23 now Marines. When you have this many barracks and you only have 23 Marines, do the math. Do the math. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 6. Every time a round of Marines is produced, you get 6 new Marines. And the Marines are produced so fast. He should be getting them very, very quickly. But Jaedong playing a great game here. Able to pick off units very effectively. Wearing down that army. A nice little sacrificial Zergling trying to get in there on that siege tank to wear it down if he can. Mind's doing what he can, though. He's pushing forward. And I love that he's taking this kind of out in the open location here because it's easily defensible and he's slowly just creeping and crawling towards his Zerg opponent. But Jaedong, he's coming from the north with a total of 5 Lurkers here. He's going to kill everything off. The tank there, the defensive mineral line tank, going to get killed here. These siege tanks can't even get themselves into siege mode quite yet, while the lurkers are going to end up forcing a lift on this command center if they continue to pursue this attack here. Mine can't afford to lose this command center. It would be integral. Oh, if he just attacks in this direction, so many workers could get killed off. 51 SCVs remaining here. Not a lot of SCVs at 15 minutes into the game. You want to see that count closer to 60, maybe even 65 if you can, but just only sitting around 52 means that Mind has had some worker trouble himself. Another base has actually erected here at the natural down at the bottom right, and I think that maybe there's no with this defensive lurker, even with these units here, a stem with a tank moving is not going to be enough to take out this base. We can see that the command center was taken out. This is reckless behavior by Mind, who ended up losing that command center. Look inside this main base. He's almost out of all his mineral patches here. Meanwhile, Jaedong, his economic situation is still strong. He's got a lot of mineral patches that he can mine from at that main base. Still sitting only at 42 drones. At what point does he decide to take his foot off the pedal just a little bit to get more drones into his economy? All these SCVs. I think that Mine's either given up or this replay's busted, because this is just sad. No, a strategic scan goes down? Where are all the units? Oh, man. There's so many units here. And inside this main base that haven't moved out. Almost 3-3. Can we see the upgrade? No, the armor upgrade isn't coming on the way like we'd expect here. But +3, all these units starting to gather. This is tough. This is tough. I don't see how Mine can come out of this. The Tyrant has completely dominated this game. We're just seeing, like, is this fantasy? Guys, maybe this is the fantasy replay if we were talking about one. All in all, Mine's played a pretty terrible game. This is just devastating. Terrans, all 3 Terrans are going to be losing today. All right. For fear that this is bugged and that Mind is absolutely doing nothing here, we're going to speed up and see if any of these units decide to move out. I will slow this down if Mind actually decides to leave his base. Otherwise, we're going to say that Jaedong ends up winning this game. I wish the last replay was a little bit more exciting for you guys. I think that this was a bugged out replay though. Oh, GG. Alright. Next week, guys, come back. You're going to watch Jaedong, current replays. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Even if we watch just ZVZs versus him versus Zero, it'll be great to watch them. Alright. Unfortunately, that replay was massively bugged. But we can get over that. It's been a pleasure casting with you guys. I feel like this has been awesome. Thank you so much for joining in today. I'm going to show some Jaedong highlights courtesy of Conadora as I exit out. Let me go ahead and set everything up. And if you want to support the foreign scene, please come back to watch that. It would be very much appreciated. One thing you're going to be missing out on if you're seeing this list right now and want to go back to watch any of the earlier games, Jaedong versus Bisu was actually not Jaedong versus Bisu. Grab the wrong replay. So you're not going to be able to watch that if you play it back. Okay, again, if you guys want to donate towards Zero or Last to get more replays from them, and I will cast them in the coming weeks, then please just put that note on my my PayPal donation. If you want to donate towards me, what I will do with my donation is put it towards the Brood War scene, unless you tell me you want me to get new sunglasses, because I will start purchasing all sorts of silly sunglasses if that helps too. All right? That's going to be the end of the cast. I'm going to put this hat back on. I'm going to play some music, and that's going to be it. Everybody take care. I love you all. Good night.
Hey guys, it's Press Play here, and I'm pumped as to be the second guest mix on Dixie's podcast. Enjoy.
Push up that flag in the air. Push up that flag in the air.
The sun right down, shadows walking home. Walking with a game on. You are my time, classic time, and you look so fine. Living the cold, smoking rolls, see your fingers shake. And getting through your heart rate. So kind of free, same for me, don't know what I need. Don't doubt me, babe, you make me wanna change. Break my bed to make me wanna stay. I can't back me, babe, you make me love the pain. Break my bed to make me wanna stay. I can't. When you say it like that, got